Okay, so imagine this for a second. You've got a global superstar, right? Someone totally at the top of their game. Maybe a huge movie star, a tech CEO launching something massive, or like a musician selling out stadiums everywhere.
Right, the absolute pinnacle.
Exactly. Now, picture them deciding to step down. Not, retiring, but choosing to go play, well, a much smaller event. Something way less glamorous, something most people at their level just wouldn't even think about.
Yeah, what kind of thinking is behind that? It really makes you pause.
It does. It challenges everything we sort of assume about ambition and success, doesn't it?
It's pretty unusual, almost unheard of, really, in that elite world.
Totally. And that exact scenario, that kind of surprising move, is what we're diving into today. We're talking about Naomi Osaka. Four-time Grand Slam champ, former world #1.
And her recent moves have really, they've stunned a lot of people in tennis, but also earned her just massive respect.
Absolutely massive. So our mission here, looking at the sources we've dug into, it's not just about the scores, the wins and losses.
No, not at all. It's about unpacking this really powerful journey. It's about courage, yeah, but also humility and just incredible mental strength.
It feels like a masterclass, almost.
It really does, in how to rebuild something important, whether it's a career or, frankly, anything in life, but doing it with real character. And we're going to get into the specifics, the details that show you the surprising facts behind this particular comeback.
Okay, so let's set the scene. Where does this specific part of her journey really kick off?
The sources point to a pretty tough moment for Osaka.
Right, the Madrid Open.
Yeah, she had just lost pretty painfully in the first round there. And that must have been extra frustrating because, she put in so much work training for the clay season.
A surface that's always been tricky for her. She's been open about that.
Always her biggest hurdle, yeah.
And then what she did next, that's where you really see the commitment, I think, instead of, pulling back or waiting for a bigger tournament.
Just 2 days after that loss in Madrid, she does something pretty extraordinary. She picks up the phone, basically, reaches out to the organizers of the WTA 125 in St. Malo.
A much smaller tournament.
Exactly, and she asked them for a wild card entry.
Just think about that. A former world #1, a global name who's played on the absolute biggest stages. Center court at Wimbledon, Arthur Ashe.
All of them.
And she's humbly asking to play in a challenger level event.
It's oh, wow. The sources we looked at nail it. They say, no ego, no excuses.
Just wanting to play, wanting to get matches, put in the work, and rebuild. It's that simple and that profound.
And then what happens?
Well, it turns out to be like a dream week for her. She goes on this run, wins 5 matches straight, and secures her very first title on clay.
Ever. Her first clay title after all this time.
Yep. And get this, it was her first WTA trophy of any kind since way back at the 2021 Australian Open.
That's huge, breaking that drought, especially on clay. That must have felt incredible. A massive weight off her shoulders, you'd have to imagine. But it wasn't just about her own feelings or results.
Right. You mentioned the respect from peers earlier.
Yeah, the ripple effect was significant. Maria Sakkari, one of the top players, known for being super competitive, she was really struck by it.
Which makes you think, why did that specific action, playing Simalo, hit so hard for someone like Sakkari, who lives and breathes that high-pressure tour life?
That's a really good point, because, you have to understand the context. At that top level, there's just immense pressure, right? Deep damage, only play the big events, protect your ranking.
Yeah, the obvious.
Exactly. So to consciously step down, not for some easy appearance, PR, just to grind it out at a smaller tournament, it's just not something easy.
It signals something different.
It shows a different kind of strength, definitely. Humility that's, pretty rare.
And Sakkari actually spoke about this directly, didn't she?
She did. The quote is pretty powerful. She said, I went up to her in Rome. I already respected her before, but after that, massive respect.
Wow, massive respect.
And she explained why. She said, it's a 125 event. Conditions aren't great. Superstars don't do that. But she did. That takes incredible mental strength.
That's not just polite praise. That's coming from someone who gets it, who understands the grind and the pressure.
Real validation, right? It highlights that internal fortitude Osaka showed way beyond just hitting a tennis ball.
So she gets this win, this validation. Did the momentum carry on?
It did, yeah. Connecting the dots here, that win streak didn't actually stop in St. Malo. After that title, she kept winning. Won 3 more matches in Rome, which is a much bigger tournament.
So that made it 8 straight wins.
8 straight wins, her longest streak since back in 2021. So it clearly wasn't just a one-off feel-good week. It felt like a genuine shift.
Okay, but we also know that rebuilding, well, it's never just a straight line up, is it?
No.
Yeah, there was talk, maybe hope, for this big match, Osaka versus Sakari, potentially in Washington later on, but that didn't happen.
Right, Osaka ended up losing to Emma Raducanu in the round of 16 there. And interestingly, Sakari also lost to Raducanu later in that same tournament.
So when you factor in a loss like that after the winning streak, what's the bigger picture here? What's the underlying theme connecting all these moments?
Well, I think what really comes through from the sources, even with that loss, is that this whole phase, it's more than just a standard comeback story. It feels like a statement, like Naomi Osaka is deliberately choosing a different path. She's not just chasing the big trophies right now.
She's doing something else.
She's showing everyone what it looks like to rebuild with real character. One tough match, one gritty win, often away from the main spotlight at the time. That, I think, is the real insight, the deeper meaning of what this whole period represents for her.
So wrapping this up then, looking at everything we've discussed, it feels like Naomi Osaka's recent journey is something profound, something that goes way beyond tennis. It's about the courage required to humble yourself, to consciously step away from the biggest stages and the brightest lights, and just focus on building a foundation, sometimes in less glamorous settings.
Yeah, and realizing that the respect you earn doesn't just come from the trophies on the shelf. It comes from the strength of your character, especially when things are tough, when you're doing the hard work nobody sees.
Which kind of brings it back to you listening right now. How could these ideas, humility, resilience, focusing on character during a rebuild, how might they resonate in your own life? Maybe you're facing a challenge, a career change, a personal goal.
Right, or even just a setback where maybe the easier option looks like chasing a quick win or the immediate validation.
So the final thought to maybe leave you with is this. What does it actually mean to prioritize rebuilding with character when you hit those inevitable setbacks or face new challenges?
And how might thinking that way, embracing that kind of mindset, actually shift how you define and pursue success, making it less about just the final result and more about the integrity you bring to the whole journey?